Hello again, squatties, and welcome back once again to Ramsgate and the Fearless Slayer's Guide series. As always, I am D. And following the order that I did for the first release of these, we'll be taking a look at my personal favorite weapon today. This is the updated guide for the Warpike. Now, being as the Warpike is my favorite weapon, I can actually talk and give a little bit more feedback and information about the different mods and specials you can use. With the exception of one special, just because I don't use it very often. Before we get into that, though, I want to show you real quick. I do have the God Hand. Like I said last week, though, with the hammer and the Molten Edict, I am not going to be doing the exotics in the video with the weapon itself. I'll be doing those in a different video, depending on, it might be next week, it might be the week after that, depending on how much I need to recheck over the Ostian repeaters, but for now. Also, you'll notice I am going to be using my Pengar's Tooth. This is my strongest weapon in the game, the strongest weapon I have in the game right now at level 13. That is 13 out of 15, by the way. Anyway. Now, the mods for the Warpike are pretty straightforward, actually. The first one is, of course, what we started with way back when I did these the first time. That is, it's called Concussive Payload. You attack and build up meter. You hit your special button to convert that meter into ammunition. You then hold it to charge up a shot, and of course the longer you charge up to a point, the more accurate you get with the shot. This deals up to 750 damage based on ammo quality, and this can interrupt. This can give you boops. Now, it says 750, that's almost a flat-out lie. Because that's just 750 straight up. It does not take into account elemental weaknesses. It doesn't take into account injuries. It doesn't take into account critical hitting. 750 is the baseline. I have legitimately seen my shots from this very Warpike hit the target we're going to be going after, the regular Nasher, for somewhere north of about 2,000. Yeah, the Warpike has gotten some good buffs. The other one, which you unlock eventually, is this one, Savage Wellspring. Press to convert meter into ammo. The start of it works just like normal. You hit something, build up meter charge, convert it into ammunition. You hold it to spend ammo, and it creates an aura around you. It's a decent sized aura that gives a plus 25% critical strike chance for up to 12 seconds based on ammo quality to all your allies. This does, and yes, it does actually affect you. This is absurdly powerful in its own right. This is the second time I've recorded this, because the first time the audio recording, the microphone messed up, and everything was just super loud. Seems to happen with this game a lot. Neither of the Nashers I fought for the split screen lasted more than 5 minutes. Actually, neither of them lasted 5 minutes. But I'll be talking using Concussive Payload. I'll have the split screen for Savage Wellspring going as well, though. Excuse me. The mods, though. The mods are what really set this one apart in its own way. You still have the 3 mods. The one I use the most often is actually the very first one you unlock. It's Munitions Amplifier here. Like it says, sword ammo increases slowly over time up to the maximum charge level. This is absurd. It used to go a lot faster. Like when they first released Munitions Amplifier, I never even bothered looking at the other two mods, because it would take about 2.5 to 3 minutes to get a full charge from baseline, from like the lowest level I could get, and I could just start blasting behemoths in the face until they were dead, almost. I mean, you do have to build up the meter, but still, it takes a little bit more time, but it's still pretty good. And this affects both the ammunition for Savage Wellspring and Concussive Payload. The next one you unlock is this one, Lightweight Shaft. Pike charge attack no longer costs stamina and always critically strikes. This sounds weird. I'll explain it a little bit more once I look at the move list. But I've actually used this one. It can be very good in a niche build. If you try to do critical, if you want to do a critical hit Warpike, I would recommend sticking with Lightweight Shaft and Savage Wellspring. The last one you unlock is the trickiest one to use, and it's the one I've used the least, but it's actually pretty good if you're good with how it works. Balanced Spearhead increases damage dealt by 3%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 3% every time piercing and harvesting attacks are swapped out. Once you hit the end of your combo, it resets. So we're going to talk about those last two because on the moves list, because that's kind of necessary here. Let's take a look. Once again, you have the standard piercing attacks, which is your basic. For me, it's a left click. For you, it's your primary attack if you're using a controller. This is how you inflict wounds. This is actually how the Warpike kind of really shines in the game. This has probably the better range of the two, but it's not quite as easy to hit with because it's only got that one quick hitbox. The other one, harvesting attacks, these are the big spinny ones. Cost stamina, can interrupt. Yes, I've actually knocked Embermanes out of their charge with this. And it can also sever parts. This is the one that costs stamina to a point. This is also probably higher damage in the end, but at the same time. Then of course you have your special meter, where as you hit the behemoth with any kind of attack, you build up meter charge. This goes up from 0 to plus 20%. This is your attack damage. This also increases your ammo quality, because at plus 20%, that is the highest ammo quality you can get, and it will do a ton of damage. Of course, there's etheric conversion, which is just you store the ammo. And then, of course, this is set for having concussive payload. Why could I not remember that for a second? Like I said, long-range blasts that can sever and break behemoth parts, hold to increase accuracy of the shot up to a point. Once the swirling ether is tight around the lead beam, that's as accurate as you're going to get. You don't want to, if you charge beyond that, it's going to go either off into space or into the ground. It's not going to be useful. You might simply hit it if the behemoth's already point blank on you. And like it says, this can interrupt. This is probably Pike Blast is probably the easiest way to interrupt, actually. Combos. We still have Piercing Flurry, which is the infinite poking combo. There at the end. 4 primary attacks, or 4 piercing attacks, and then you hold and you just jab until you run out of stamina or let it go. That used to be that you would run out of it, that you would just stop eventually. I don't think that happens anymore. Next up, Aether Harvester. It's the big spinning combo. You'll see a lot of Pike users use this in multiplayer because it's useful. Like I said, it can sever behemoth parts, cost stamina, 1, 2, and then I don't even know how many. It's about a 7 or 8 hit combo at the end of the day. Now, the Balanced Spearhead makes use of combo crossover. This is actually super useful because if you're good, you can probably get up to about 18 or 24% extra damage depending on how well you can mix up your combos. I mix up my combos now and then, but I'm not super great at it, so if you want to get better at it, use Balanced Spearhead, practice. It's good. Now, Lightweight Spearhead, or Lightweight Shaft, sorry. I mentioned Pike Charge. This is what it's talking about. If you're sprinting, you can hit your primary attack, your piercing attack, and it's basically couching a lance. When you end it by either releasing the attack or getting close to the behemoth, you'll thrust it forward with a lunge. Can do quite a bit of damage, and it's a great way to initiate, but it does drain stamina. And if you get hung up on terrain or a companion, and yes, you can get stuck on people in this, I've had it happen to me, release it quickly, because if they can't get out of the way, then you're just gonna sit there and drain your stamina completely. Alright then, so that was just a quick primer on the moves and abilities of the Warpike. I'll see you guys in just a moment, once we're in fighting the Gnasher. Don't go anywhere. Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and show you guys the Pike Charge, shall we? There you go. Go ahead and charge my first one. You'll notice that I didn't charge it very far, because I want you guys to be able, because you should be able to watch and see as it builds up meter. Compared to that one, which is considered, you see that now they're both pretty bright. Don't expect me to be able to boot the Gnasher, because it's actually, surprisingly enough, one of the trickier ones for me to do that with. Okay, see, that was about 9%. That was less than half of what the full charge can do. And I still did more than half the damage of the 750 that it quoted. For those of you wondering, half of 750 is 375. You also notice the glowing injury on the Gnasher's left leg. Those blue smoke, if you can hit those with a charge shot, they'll do a ton of damage. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, see, that was nearly 2,000 damage. That wasn't even a full power shot. Oop, Gnasher's angry. Fun story I'll tell you guys, actually, while I'm just kind of killing time here. I had something interesting happen when the first time I was recording this. In fact, it was during this part of the... It was during the... recording the, section of this where I was talking, so it was the, concussive blast portion of the video. I actually had something happen that I've never seen happen before. Namely, I severed the Gnasher's tail, and it still did yeah, just like that, and it still did its little tail slam attack. Both the times I actually fought this thing, like I said, it took me less than 5 minutes. Yeah, that was a pretty pathetic shot, and it still did 1,200 damage. But yeah, it still tried to do its tail slam attack without a tail. And there you see... Yes, you can actually stagger behemoths with a Warpike. It's not super easy. Because unlike the hammer, unlike the heavier other weapons where you want to be... like the hammer or the axe, where you want to be... or the sword, where you want to be concentrating on one target. And that's a kill. But like I was saying, unlike the sword or axe where you want to concentrate on one target, the Warpike you kind of want to shift around to make injuries other places so your teammates can cause more damage. Alright, I'll see you guys in just a moment for the wrap up. Don't go anywhere. Well, squaddies, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Especially the moment during the Savage Wellspring part where I got thrown off the ledge, but hey. Again, the major difference seems to be how do you want to do damage. If you want to be more supportive and in close, you probably want to use Savage Wellspring. Whereas if you want to be standard pike user, you can do what I do and stick to using Concussive Blast. One thing you might have noticed, I'll show you now. I stuck with Munitions Amplifier for both of them. Because of the fact that both Savage Wellspring and Concussive Payload, I've been calling Concussive Shot and Blast all the time, anyway. Both of them depend on ammo quality, so Munitions Amplifier, in my opinion, is the better of the three, unless you want to do something niche, like a critical hit build, in which case you'd want to use something, like I said, probably you'd make a good choice for either lightweight shaft or balanced spearhead. Both would be great for a critical hit build. For a standard pike user, though, Munitions Amplifier is probably your better bet. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I will determine between now and next week whether or not it will be a look at the exotics or if I have to go over the Austrian repeaters again. If you enjoyed, feel free to drop a like on the video. You can also leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. And if you want to keep up with me and never miss any of my current series, then consider joining the squadron by subscribing to the channel. That does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. As for that, squaddies, I have been D. The Warpike is still my #1 in this game, easily. Till next time, good night, and good gaming.